Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast, the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown. Craig, how are you doing today?
I am doing phenomenal, my friend. I'm doing phenomenal. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I had some activities going on this week. They got a little beyond control. Then commercial aviation got beyond my control yesterday. I tell you what, I missed the most, Craig. I missed I missed the Taco Tuesday song, and I missed the Hump Day jingle. So I
You
really
know
did.
what, Mike? You are just such a deprived individual. I completely understand. But you know what? Sometimes, sir, it just be like it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't have to like it. I don't like it.
I hear you, though. I hear you. I most definitely hear you. Most definitely hear you. Well, you were missed. Definitely some of the viewers were like, "Where's Mike? Where's Mike?" And I'm like, What am I? Chopped liver?"
I was actually with one of the viewers this week while I was away at my expo, and he was like, "This is good. This is good. Just you, no Craig. I like this." No, I'm just
Really,
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
really,
kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding.
really. I'm
Obviously,
feeling. I'm feeling. I'm feeling kind of
kidding,
hurt.
obviously. Yeah, kidding. Obviously, he said it was weird because he would he'd watch it while I was sitting there with him. He'd watch you live at 5 and said, "See, it's like both of you are still here."
Funny stuff. Funny stuff.
Yeah. But it
In
was
any
missed.
case,
I
folks.
definitely definitely missed the our banter, our commentary every day, and just our chats every day where we get together and do this. So I missed it as well, sir.
Well, and I always enjoy. At least now it's Friday, so I enjoy
That's
the
it.
ability to partake of some adult beverage, usually starting on Thursday. But it honestly it's a reason to drink before the workday's over.
Ain't no drinking like day drinking, except for day work drinking. That's the best.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, why don't we before we get started, let's go ahead and do a quick shout out to our sponsors.
So let's say hello to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Hitmanindustries.net. You got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from them direct for your next AR build or rebarrel your current rifle. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you could take part in California's future today. Check out California Republican Assembly. If you want yourself an awesome, the best out there on the market, tactical concealed holsters, go see our friends at Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com. HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces. And then if you want some field gear, some tactical gear, need some wet weather or cold weather gear, whatever it happens to be, go to uscombatgear.com.
Folks, once again, these are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. So do us a favor. Do them a favor. Do yourself a favor. Go visit them. All you got to do is follow the links in the description to this program. It's real simple. All you got to do is press, click, bam, you're there. Check them out. Spend some money and tell them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. Also, make sure, however you partake of the program, make sure you save and share and subscribe on multiple platforms because, as we've talked about, the Google gods, the WeberNet demons, we know that they are out there and they're trying to keep us apart. They do not want us to be together. They do not want us whispering sweet nothings of truth into your ears. So make sure that you are a part and make sure you're sharing this program with your friends to tell them this is the place to get your news. Just saying.
He's not saying, folks. He's just saying. Do it.
There you go. Hey, see, you get me. See, I didn't realize that as
Simpatico.
much. I missed you. I missed you, bro. I missed you.
Simpatico. Simpatico is the
Seriously.
word. Simpatico. Yeah, yeah.
There you go. Seriously, bro, you're the man. See, let me give you a clue on how I know which way to turn, Mike. I look at my mic and I see where my mic is coming from, and I know I have to turn the opposite way. That's how I know which way to
Oh, I
point.
know. That looks like I point at you all the time. I just thought it would be better if I looked her in a room like, is there somebody else in the room with me?
Okay. There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into today's stories. All right, something that not a lot of people are talking about. And by the way, there's a reason why the mainstream media is not talking about the Weaponization Committee. There is a fundamental reason why, and that's because them and their lies and the lies of the administration, the alphabet soup folks. There's a reason why they're not saying anything. The reason why you don't hear about them, because this committee is exposing attacks on free speech. Now, what's interesting about this is that the Democrats on the committee are very much trying to say that this is about attacks on the right, attacks on conservatives and conservatism. And mind you, a good portion of the people that are being attacked, that are being censored, that are a part of the cabal between big tech, the media, and the government, a big percentage of those folks are conservatives. But there are journalists out there who are actually liberal-leaning journalists who happen to be good journalists and are not interested and are really focusing on writing about the truth and sharing the facts. But it's about how they too are under attack. And I want to give you a chance to listen to just a snippet from yesterday's hearing, to hear kind of the conversation and the things that are taking place. In particular, I wanted you to hear from Jim Jordan, the chair of the Judiciary Committee, and listen as he crosses the T's, dots the I's, and draws the direct line of censorship to the Democratic Party.
So the truth is, we want to focus on protecting the First Amendment. Mr. Schellenberger, are you a Republican?
No, I'm not.
You got any pro-Trump bumper stickers on your car?
I voted for Biden.
Voted for Biden. You don't have any MAGA hats laying around your house, right?
I do not.
Yeah, but you said earlier, both you and Mr. Taibbi said this is the most chilling thing you've ever seen as journalists. Mr. Taibbi, the same thing. You're not a Republican either, right?
No, I'm not.
You didn't vote for Trump. I mean, this is about protecting the First Amendment. Mr. Taibbi, I want to read from your Twitter file number 9. You say this: after weeks of Twitter files, the Bureau issued a statement Wednesday, referring to the FBI. Here's what the FBI said: it is unfortunate that conspiracy theorists and others are feeding the American public misinformation with the sole purpose of attempting to discredit the agency. You then follow up, and this is why I think you're an award-winning author, you then follow up, they must think we're unambitious if our sole aim is to discredit the FBI. After all, a whole range of government agencies discredit themselves in the Twitter files. And then you go on to, in this particular Twitter file, to talk about what Mr. Bishop was just talking about, the GEC at the State Department. You talk about the CIA. You talk about the DOD. You talk about the FBI. You talk about the DHS. You talk about the Foreign Intelligence Task Force, which is a combination of all these. But there was one agency you didn't mention, because you didn't know at the time. One agency, you got almost the whole alphabet, but you didn't mention one agency, the FTC. Because you know about them now.
Yes, we
do. You know about them now in an up-close and personal way. You didn't know then, but you do know now. December 2nd, as I said earlier, December 2nd, the first Twitter file comes out, Mr. Taibbi. And I think there are 5 others, including the ones from Mr. Schellenberger. December 13th, the very first letter that the FTC sends to Twitter after the Twitter files, 11 days after the first Twitter file. There have been 5 of them come out. The FTC's first demand in that first letter after the Twitter files come out is identify all journalists, I'm quoting, identify all journalists and other members of the media to whom Twitter worked with. You find that scary, Mr. Taibbi, that you got a federal government agency asking a private company, who in the press are you talking with?
Yeah, I do find it scary. I think it's none of the government's business which journalists a private company talks to and why. I think every journalist should be concerned about that, and the absence of interest in that issue by my fellow colleagues in the mainstream media is an indication of how low the business has sunk. There was once a real esprit de corps and a camaraderie within media. Whenever one of us was gone after, we all kind of rose to the challenge and supported.
Used to be.
Yeah.
Used to be the case.
That is gone now. We don't protect one
You know what
another.
else used to happen? Democrats used to care about protecting First Amendment free speech rights, too. Now it's like, okay, if you're attacking, and I said this on the House floor, I said, don't think they won't come for you. Oh, the big tech, big media, cancel culture, they may come for Republicans and conservatives now, but the mob is never satisfied. They will keep coming. Mr. Schellenberger, you know who the chair of the FTC is?
Not personally.
Lena Khan. Lena Khan. You know who she used to work for?
My understanding is the Judiciary Committee?
Yeah, she's worked for these folks. These same folks have been attacking you today. Same folks.
That was a truth bomb right there, folks. Did you see how, once again, it's not so much that Democrats are attacking Republicans. They are attacking the truth, and they are attacking free speech. They are attacking anybody, even their own, when they stray from the political narrative.
Craig, we've said it on here many times that we thought we'd seen the break, that we would see some of the media start to come around and oppose Biden policies and what's going on in this current administration. We saw that with a couple of stories here and there from some of the liberal media sources, and now that that's occurring, you see what's happening. They're eating their own. It's like Representative Jordan said there. The mob is never satisfied. They always want to eat more. It doesn't matter to them at this point that they're going after Democrats or they're going after liberals or those that report liberal media. It's not the answers they want. It's not the stories they want out there. So they're going after them.
Well, exactly. I could not even begin to tell you. I could not even begin to share with you just how true that statement is. It is beyond weird that they think that they can get away with this sort of stuff. It is because the media is complicit, and I think that's one of the things that Matt Taibbi pointed out as he was talking, was he was sharing. Look, he's like, there was a time when we stood up for one another, right? When in the media we stood up and if one person in the media was under attack, they stood up and they said something. Well, that time is no more, because it's no longer about free speech. It is about a message, and it is about the propaganda. And if you refuse to be a part of the messaging machine, well, then you come under attack. And that's where these guys are. They're liberals. And I read a lot of Matt Taibbi's stuff, and I will tell you there's a lot of stuff I disagree with, but the one thing I will always say is that at the very least, he is intellectually honest with the stuff he puts out there.
If you recall, first off, Craig, it's not just about the camaraderie and the friendships between the journalists. It used to be, and it was based upon journalistic integrity is where that started. And they knew they could stand up for each other because everybody had a standard for what they reported. And listen, you don't have to go back far. Look at what Dan Rather did. And folks, Dan Rather, if you don't know the name, was one of the top 3 journalists in the country. He was a late night, anchor he was CBS, I believe. And, he was right there for one of the top 3 anchors in the country. Everybody turned to him every night. He filed a story with one source that ended up being wrong, and he was done. He was removed from his position, never to be heard from again, except now they use his voice for some odd, weird stuff. But that was journalistic integrity. How dare you file a one-source story that you didn't get confirmed? You're done in this business.
He was the Walter Cronkite of his era. I mean, literally, he was even though he was a lefty, he still, people thought a lot of him anyway, but yeah, no, he ability. But once again, you're now seeing that happens all the time. Now, that kind of takes me to our next item, and this has to do with KJP, the press secretary for the White House. She recently was asked a question about whether or not the White House considered Fox News to be actual news. And she had the nerve to say that, well, and she focused on Tucker Carlson. She said Tucker Carlson basically doesn't even believe in truth. In fact, here are her exact words.
So I'll say this. When you look at the depositions that have been out there recently, it even states from Fox News leadership that they do not see Tucker Carlson's show as news or even truthful. That is coming from the Fox leadership. That's not coming from me. That is coming from them. And I also would quote, I'll paraphrase here, what the chief of Capitol Police said. He said, when you watch Tucker Carlson as it relates to January 6th, it is misleading and it is misinformation as with the conclusion of what happened on January 6th, the attacks that happened. As you saw from the president's statement, 140 officers were injured. Nearly 140 officers were injured on that day. It was an attack on our democracy. It was an attack on our Constitution. And you cannot whitewash that. Tucker Carlson cannot whitewash that. Anyone who doesn't see with their own eyes what occurred cannot whitewash that. And so the president is going to stand with the police officers. He's going to stand for truth. And clearly that is not what Tucker Carlson believes in.
All right, so a few things here. Number one, that's exactly what the January 6th committee did. They took selective information, selective segments, and that's all they showed. And they did it to the point where they brought in a Hollywood producer to put together the video and script the whole hearing so that they could tell a narrative. And that's, quite frankly, that's exactly what Tucker Carlson did. He told a narrative, but he didn't deny that there were people who engaged in violence. He didn't deny that there were officers who got injured. By the way, he also didn't deny that the only person who was killed that day was an unarmed woman who was a supporter of Donald Trump, who was killed by a Capitol police officer or by law enforcement. I'm sure I say this every time I say that, and I keep thinking I should look it up, but whether he was a Secret Service or Capitol police officer. But the fact is they were killed. She was killed. She was the only one killed that day. Now, it was funny. They didn't care anything about the officers who were killed, who were injured, the thousands of officers who were injured during the George Floyd riots, the mostly peaceful George Floyd riots. And here's the thing, Mike, and I said this on the show earlier in the week, using their definition, right? They said, well, there were like 8,000 protests and only about 500 of them turned violent. Now, almost every single one of the ones that turned violent started off as one of those peaceful protests. But by the very definition, that's their definition, they call that mostly peaceful. Well, how many people was it, Mike, that showed up at the Capitol to hear the president speak?
Oh, it was several thousand.
Several hundreds of thousands,
not
right?
at the Capitol building.
I'm talking about at his speech.
Yes.
There were tens of thousands of people there.
Yes.
And then a small percentage, a couple of thousand, actually went over to the Capitol.
Correct.
By very definition, it was mostly peaceful, because I'm assuming that the people who didn't go over to the Capitol didn't go and riot around Washington, D.C. the way the Antifa and BLM folks did.
Yeah, it's too long a walk to go to Minneapolis, so it didn't happen there either. So.
I don't know. I just think, by the way, Mike, this is a woman who stood up there and lied about fentanyl being at an all-time low, who lied about the border being secure, who lied about the Inflation Reduction Act actually reducing inflation, who lied about the president going to the border, who lied about the president doing something at the border. I'm just wondering, by what standard is she qualified to define what truth is?
Oh, she's not. She has no qualifications at all to define it. Every time I see her speak, Craig, I think that maybe we need to put one together. We need like a compilation video of just people rolling their eyes, because that's all I see every time she goes on is here we go again. The eye roll with this woman lying. And Craig, I feel sorry for her because I don't think she thinks she's lying. They hand her a piece of paper and she reads it and trusts it as the 100% truth. I think she thinks this is all true when they hand her the stuff to read.
You know, I don't doubt that you're correct, but Mike, after a while she's got to say, look, you guys got to stop handing me these lies, because I'm reading them, and that's the funniest part. She's reading them, and at the same time, you already know the lies are coming. We could put a little ticker tape that of fact checking of every lie that she tells. I mean, it makes the president look bad. It makes her look bad. Not that they need any help, but this woman is not the arbiter of truth.
Yeah. I think she sits at home eating, bonbons and popcorn or whatever, and watching cartoons, and then they come on and they go, "Come on, we more for you to read," and she's like, "Okay," and she comes out and reads it and just walks away. She has no idea.
Ugh. All I can say is ugh.
Yeah, not a bright woman. Not a bright woman.
Not a bright woman. I think that's the reason why they put her there, because I think what happened was Jen Psaki got to the point where she's like, look, I can't keep covering for you guys. I think that's what happened. I think they said, we need a stooge, and she's it. I don't know any other way to put it.
Jen. Come on, Jen, call us.
All right, next on the agenda, we've got, the Giffords loss. Okay, the lies that are told by the Giffords Law Center are always hilarious. Let me clarify. They're hilarious, except for the fact that lawmakers believe them. Anti-gun people who want to take away your fundamental right to keep and bear arms, believe it. So there's an attack on permitless carry, believe it or not. I know. Hard to fathom that people in the anti-gun community, anti-rights community would attack permitless carry. So this is a piece that they had put out, and it's done via tweets and done via ads that they put out. And it says, "Can you spot the difference?" And these are basically like two cutouts, two people carrying guns, and evidently one of them is legally carrying, and the other one is not legally carrying. In fact, here I'll let you see. Here's the tweet that went out. They said, "Can you tell who is legally carrying a gun and who isn't?" The answer: you can't tell until it's already too late. We placed this full-page ad in the Miami Herald just to show just how dangerous and negligent Governor DeSantis's permitless carry bill is. Now, Mike, there are a few problems that I saw with this, and one way in which I knew exactly who was carrying illegally. But I'll let you give your analysis of this tweet first.
First off, Craig, I want to say that when I saw the title for this story, I was set back for a moment, because it says, Gifford's hilarious disinformation campaign. I thought this was about Frank Gifford and Kathy Lee Gifford, and I thought there was going to be some sort of because when you think of the Giffords, that's what I think of. Those are the Giffords, and I've thought Kathy Lee. We know she murdered Frank, right? Is that what this is going to be? Some sort of revelation on that? And no, it ended up being a gun story. So you caught me.
We are a Second Amendment show to a degree, so you would think you would have gone to that Giffords.
I'm not a one issue guy, Craig. I'm sorry, I'm not a one issue guy. I have more than one issue in my life. Yeah, listen. There's so much going on down here in Florida over this. We're seeing Gifford kind of money, which is Bloomberg money, by the way, about how it's going to be. Craig, you know it. It's going to be like the Wild West out there. It's going to be blood on the streets because every bit of information that comes out is now they're going to allow felons to carry. What? No, we're not. No one is doing that at all. The only difference is, if you currently purchase a permit, you'll no longer have to purchase a permit. If you're here's the thing to remember, okay? If you are barred from carrying a firearm today, you will still be barred from carrying a firearm when the law goes into effect. That's it. It is not changing who is eligible to carry a firearm. It's simply changing that you no longer have to pay to exercise a constitutional right. And we see this every day. Greg, I pick up newspapers, I pick up articles, and you're like, it used to be, how many paragraphs do I have to get before I get to the lies? Then it got to sentences. And Craig, I'm not lying to you. At this point, it's how many words till I get to the lie? And many times it's in the title itself.
Okay, so here's what's funny. So check this out. So if you look at it once again, let me show you here. So you got a guy in a red and a guy in blue, right? One of them is illegally carrying. Well, that upside down text, it says the man in the red completed a pistol shooting training course, passed a background check, and holds a license to carry a concealed gun in Florida. The man in the blue has never fired a gun in his life. He bought his pistol at a bar last week without a background check, and he's convicted of a violent felony last year. Now, you know why I didn't even need to know that? Because you have to figure the red is the Republican, the blue is the Democrat. Clearly, the Democrat is breaking the law because they're criminals by definition.
That's very true. It's very true. I have to tell you, when I saw this first off, I thought this was better. This would be a better California ad with the Bloods versus the Crips.
But what's funny is, and here's, by the way, here's the other thing. The other thing is this, is that the guy on the right, the guy in the blue, he would be carrying whether they had permitless carry or not.
That's right. If you do things the way the Giffords want, the only one that would be carrying a firearm is the felon.
Right. But they don't tell you that. And by the way, in case you folks did not know, felons, not all felons, but there are plenty of felons who decide to carry guns even though it is against the law.
That's it. Bring the picture back up. Bring the picture back up there of our cardboard friends. Right. So, folks, this is the deal, right? Like Craig said, let's go with the premise of what the Giffords just said. You have the red carrying the firearm. He has a permit. You have the blue carrying a firearm. He's a convicted felon. Let's go on that premise. Let's give the Giffords what they want. We'll make it illegal to carry a firearm. Well, guess what happens? The law-abiding citizen stops carrying the firearm because they don't want to become a criminal and get convicted. The guy in the blue, he's already a criminal. He doesn't care. He's still carrying the firearm. All you've done is take away the ability of the law-abiding to protect themselves.
The guy in the blue just looks like a Democrat, doesn't he?
It's the goatee.
Look, it's the fact his mouth is hanging wide open. It's the fact he's a loud mouth.
Does he have little horns on his head there? The little blue horns on the top of his head?
No, I think that's just his hair being kind of spiky. The other guy's kind of clean cut.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, and by the way, in Miami, nobody's wearing shirts and pants like that either. So it's Miami, all right? You're lucky if they're wearing socks and shoes.
All right, moving right along. Colin Kaepernick accuses his parents of racism. Now, what's funny about that is this. So he's talking about his adoptive parents. For those of you who do not know, Colin Kaepernick, the former quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, who sucked so much he has not been able to get a job, despite the fact that the NFL has done everything possible to try and cajole someone into hiring him. He's found a way to screw all that up. But all that having been said, he ripped his parents for being racist, right? But, now this is what's funny. At the same time, he's ignoring the fact that in China, one, they are discriminating, not just discriminating against, they have enslaved Uyghurs, a religious minority, raped their women, and basically they're in the process of genocide, as well as engaged in violation of child labor. And he has said absolutely nothing about the Chinese. I just find it to be hilarious.
Oh, this guy. Oh. Who's his publicist? That's the guy who should be making money, because otherwise nobody cares about this guy. Whoever keeps getting this guy on TV, they need a raise because they're doing a great job. This guy is, listen, even when he played football, he was yesterday's news. He's not good, all right? And now, hey, parents that raised me, adopted me when my own ethnic parents, my own minority parents wouldn't have me. You adopted me and raised me. Now you're racist. I can't support you. I just, listen, I always wish that Joe Buck gets hit in the throat with a truck because I can't stand him as an announcer. I want that truck to hit Kaepernick first. and run over his arm. That way we don't have to hear about him anymore in his football career. Can we be done with this guy?
Here's the
Can we be
sort
done
of
with
stuff.
By the way, it's a theoretical truck, folks. It's not
Right.
real. It's not. I'm not advocating violence on anyone.
Here's the sort of thing that he's complaining about. He's like, I know my parents loved me, but there were very problematic things what I went through, Kaepernick said Thursday. He pointed out the time his mother said his cornrows made him look not professional, like a little thug, as an example of how racism was perpetuated in his home. Well, let me tell you something. I am a black man, and I will tell you right now, yes, cornrows do make you look like a thug. I'm not saying that's fair. I'm not saying that's right if that chooses to be your hairstyle, but you have to understand that's how people see it. And by the way, it doesn't really matter what race you are. If you're white with cornrows, people are going to still see you as a thug. If you're Asian with cornrows, people are going to see you as a thug or an athlete, one of the two.
You know, his mother was racist, Craig, because she sent him to sent him to school wearing shirts and pants and not a dashiki. So she must be a racist. You know, it's
Right.
just horrible. It's horrible.
Maybe if she had been engaged in child labor, or, you know, maybe if she had been, you know, raping religious minorities, then he would be okay with her. He wouldn't have anything to say about it.
Yeah, but no, he would still be wearing their sneakers though.
Yes, he more than likely would still be wearing. He's more than likely would still be wearing their sneakers.
Yep.
I like you, Mike. I am done with this guy.
Yeah.
Just saying. I've been done. I don't know how he still keeps popping up, but I guess you keep saying
Best
stuff like that.
publicist ever.
You know, like
Yeah.
my parents were raped. The parents who adopted me when my own parents gave me up are racist. Then yeah, I guess that is going to kind of get you in the news.
Best publicist ever. This guy's got.
All right, now we're going to move on to our parting shots. Our parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. That's right, Hog Holsters. All you got to do is go to hogholsters.com. Once you get there, use the discount code The Rundown, and well, you can get your Hog Holster, get your discount today. Not me.
Do it.
All right, so let's go to our first parting shot. This one is in honor of the release of all of the video. Now that we know that the QAnon shaman, well, let's just put it this way. He didn't just walk through the Capitol. He didn't riot through the Capitol. He was escorted through the Capitol. Mike, why don't you go ahead and read this one for the folks?
I don't always break into the Senate chambers, but when I do, 7 cops open the doors for me. And Craig, and I remember seeing those videos live as they happened, and I know we talked about them since, but you know, they got squashed, they got put away, they got whitewashed from the media. You saw them holding doors, you know, hold there, here, come on through here, here you go. This is the way. I
got to be honest, I had not seen them until that part in particular, until they were released. And I was shocked, to be quite honest. I'm like, this guy was the violent insurrectionist that, I'm like, why is this guy doing that much time in jail? It still right now just does not make sense to me. The only real time you could see where he was engaged in anything you could call violent was when they first broke into the building. He was one of the first ones in. I didn't see if he was doing anything to break down the doors of the windows. All you could see is a bunch of people came in through the doors that were broken in, and he was amongst the first of them. And that was really about it. That's all I saw.
Yeah, that was it again, and everything. And you've seen the media this week. All of these people that were charged repeatedly requested via Discovery and Freedom of Information Acts for all the videos from the FBI and the Judiciary Committee that investigated this, and they were denied every time for it.
Right. Well, yesterday, that's what I talked
until
about on the show. Was I pointed out how the guy's attorney requested this footage. And they were denied. And the main reason they wanted it was just to show, look, this guy wasn't violent. They were just trying to get him out of solitary confinement. The whole time they knew this footage existed, showing him not being violent at all. And Nope, they refused to give it to him. I got to believe there's a chance that some of these folks, even the ones who did plea deals, some of their cases are going to be revisited.
I got to believe that come January 20th, just about a year, just over a year and a half from now, Craig, is going to be a lot of pardons going out the door.
Probably so. Probably so. Okay, so here's the one that really got me. Here you got Schumer saying, "Fox, shut this liar up," and it's Schumer, and he's holding a little piece of paper that had a little file that has January 6th was worse than 9/11, the Civil War, and Pearl Harbor, right? And then you have the unseen video evidence, and it's got the QAnon shaman. By the way, it's Tucker Carlson holding the file. It's got a cop taking a selfie with the QAnon shaman.
Yep. That's the truth. See what happens when you get to the truth? You make them squirm. You make the liars squirm when you start doing it.
And that, by the way, is exactly what is going on. But then again, and here's our final one for today. And this is the new ISIS. And they're talking about welcome to the U.S. It's got the cartel sitting in a truck, and on the back it says fentanyl and other drugs, human trafficking, rape, murder, and it's got Biden 2024, Democrat 2022. And quite frankly, one only need look at their policies and recognize that the cartels, and by the way, for those of you who do not know, the Mexican president is actually telling the American people don't vote Republican. And this is why.
I love when you get the cartoonists that don't know anything about gun who's got the front sight post backwards on the rifle there. That's fun. Thanks for that. It looks like a little sailboat he's got instead of a rifle. Craig, do you did you? I sent you one during the week when I was away working my butt off and not drinking during the day. Did you set the one about the conspiracy theories?
Tell you what, let's do this. Why don't you go ahead and give the shout out to our sponsors, and I'll see if I can find that one.
Okay. I will say hello to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Listen, you can get a rifle or pistol caliber barrel in any length available, so you can have your own AR pistol or AR rifle. Go over to hitmanindustries.net. Take a look at what they have. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you could be part of California's future today. Check them out. And of course, you want some awesome field gear, some tactical gear, some web gear, get on over to uscombatgear.com.
All right, Mike, I found this one. I believe this is the one you were referring to, right?
Yes, that's the one.
Instead of calling them conspiracy theories. Yes, I actually used that one yesterday.
Okay. There we go. That's a great one. Instead of calling them conspiracy theories, we should call them spoiler alerts. I love it.
Well, it's amazing, and I deal with folks in the left media all the time, and it's what's funny is that I started running down all of the things that we now know. I said, let's not even say that they're true. We now know that they are at least plausible, and we know this because we've been told this by even the left. We know that Hunter Biden's laptop is real. We know that there's stuff on it, right? We know it's real and it exists. We know that masks are facial decorations. We know that the vaccine does not prevent you from either getting it or spreading it. We knew that shutdowns didn't. I mean, I started going through the list of stuff that we know, that studies that we now know. And it's like, these are all things that conservatives and Republicans were saying a year and a half, 2 years ago, and people were losing their social media channels. We're being censored because they said these things. Now we know them to at least be plausible.
Yes, it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. We also know that the Houston Astros cheated during the World Series. We know that now as well.
Well, that's kind of a given.
Well, we knew it. I mean, everybody else knew it.
Everyone knew it. Anyway, folks, we appreciate you folks tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We're going to call it a show. We're going to call it a day. We're going to call it a week and go into our weekend. We'll be back on Monday, Fun Day, Gun Day. We hope you guys have a good weekend, and we'll see you on the flip side.